Okay, so straddle estimated should be good. 33 points. Okay, straddle's good. We got a gap down from yesterday's close and yesterday's gap up. So 70.64 and 71.38. Hanging out at the upside pivot. Hanging out at this pivot for quite some time here. We got a gap that we have to worry about. It's running. NQ is kind of gravitating down here. Fences is catching a bid. I think the high here should be the gap fill. Moving into that positive gamma strike cluster. That takes us up to 40 potentially for the gap fill. If we can break into it. 71.25 holding us down. 71.05 will be tough to break too. Tempted to short here, but points of risk. That's too much for me. Energy close. Still potentially 17 points to the upside. But I want to see some sort of rejection candle. YM kind of rejected off of its overnight highs there. Hey, Koshik. At the money straddles at 33. So the straddle that I am showing, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, should be correct based on the opening. Plus or minus 2 points or so. Centroid's down there, and it's lined up with the downside pivot. Straddle low is also down there. I think downside pivot and centroid are the same today from Alma's post. Let me double check. Centroid is also the downside pivot. Yeah. Seems like Alma has no real bias today. I'm looking at the gamma charts, and it looks like it's open for movement in either direction. And yesterday, when it was open, there was like lack of positioning between like some 70-point range or something like that, if I remember correctly yesterday. And as soon as market opened, positions started filling in, and that pretty much defined the day. So I'm kind of waiting for that. Everything's pretty light positioning. We're all under like 2,000 positions for the most part. 7,100 had the largest initially, but looks like that kind of went quite a ways down. 7,130 is pretty large, but nothing really stands out from a positioning perspective. Just very light positive gamma. This cluster takes us up to about 7140, maybe 45. That'll give us a nice gap fill. If it can break into this cluster here. But it seems to want to stay here in between the two clusters. It's kind of just like stuck here in mud. From 17 to 25. Overnight action was pretty crazy. I don't even think it was like truly overnight. It was like 8 p.m. And there was some news that came out that was later, that they later took back, or they said it didn't happen. So price action just kind of like whipsawed there. And then it kind of came back down in the middle of the night, and then now we're back up. I was thinking risking like an eval at around like 720-ish, 715, 720-ish. And just taking upside for the potential gap fill. And yeah, that probably would have been the right move considering we popped like 30 points within like, I don't know, almost half an hour. I didn't end up taking the risk though. But it went up, swept overnight highs, and then pulled back quite a bit. I was away from my desk for the most part, so whatever, if I had taken that trade, I would have had to basically pray and just pray it hits one of my targets, because I wouldn't have been actively managing it. But the sweep was also a nice play too. It looks like we're headed up for the gap fill. Yesterday wasn't pretty. I think Tuesday was kind of nice. Monday gave some opportunities, but Tuesday was probably the best day. Yesterday was kind of disgusting. Looks like NQ is going to try to go for its overnight highs here, while ES fills that gap. So got another 7 points to go, which would be the sweep of the higher day. ES seems to have this trend line, consolidation trend line, that looks maybe like a wedge of some sort, or just looks like a flag. But I got nothing, no trade so far. What are you looking at today, Koshik? There's a 7084. This is low probability reversion target back to 7100. For the most part, seems like Alma is expecting a oscillation around 7100. And there's a sweep. There's the NQ sweep. Oh, no, sorry. That is not the sweep. Overnight highs are still another 20 points up. That gives SPX an opportunity to gap fill. YM has already swept. And now it's pulled back most of that 5-minute top wick. Any news? Oh, just 9:45. 9:45. There you go. PMI flash. PMI services. PMI manufacturing. Come on. There's the gap fill. Is that 40? No, I didn't quite hit 40. NQ's rejecting. NQ sweep would have been a nice 20-point play. Previous day high 73. I think I want to try a short. Yeah, I marketed it in, and then it just kind of pushed down. Hopefully it holds. Go back after the gap fill. $71.52. That's a good exit at POC. I wanted to run up towards 71.40, 71.45 first. But I figured this might be a good entry, especially after the NQ sweep. Like NQ gave, off the sweep, NQ gave 50 points. That's about $100 per MNQ. Not bad. The market just seems very herky-jerky. Like, you get one massive vol move or VIX move up, and then it recovers. And then that was another big VIX move, and then it wicked. Whatever it is, it's trying to suppress vol really hard. Positioning is starting to pick up a little, and it's all premium selling or vol selling. Major levels for negative gamma positions would be 70, 80, 70, 75. If we can even make it down there. It looks like it's a downside bet, which I can double check here. Yeah, they're long puts there, intraday. Betting on downside, but in theory, that's going to hold it up. I almost want to hold runners towards there, 70, 80, especially because it's the centroid straddle low. Mind you, the straddle has changed to like 26. So that'll take us to about 7,100, just above 7,100. And it's going to be another slow day. I don't even want to pay attention to this. Walk away and come back at this point. Straddle at 947 is 26. I took some off. I'm going to see if I can let one account run. For better or for worse. A 7110, 7105 should cause a bounce of some sort. Actually, VWAP's causing that bounce now. That was a good scalp, Koshik. I'm just gonna let one account go, and wherever it goes, it goes. Until, yeah, I was looking at around 71.42-ish. And if I'm really want to push it, I might try for 71.36. But I think I'm already pushing it, to be honest, after the VWAP tap. Yeah, it's already a 10-point bounce. I should have noticed that the 1 hour doesn't really lend itself nicely to further downside, but when you say vol, do you mean volume? I notice a lot of people use vol for volume, and then there's the volatility guys use vol for volatility. Okay, just making sure. When I say vol, I mean volatility. So just so we're on the same page as what we're talking about. But now I know when you say vol, it'll be volume. Wow, that's massive volume candle. Holy smokes, on the 5-minute. That beats the 930, which would suggest more upside. We're back at 25. Some dealer shorts are starting to come in. So I guess some people are starting to enter some long positions or playing upside positions. Let me check. That was 35. Yeah, they're long calls, customer long calls at 35 and 45. 45 was already there. 35 is new. And I hate this fishbone pattern. It's like no real edge there from a positioning perspective. VIX is not doing anything here. It looks like it's pinning at 19.32 with a few spike ups. a few spikes up. So we spiked up to 20.25 at around 910, came back down, and then we spiked up again to 19.85 at around 950, and came right back down to the 19.3 level. Straddle's at 26 still, 25.95. Yeah, I'm still holding. Yeah, they probably should be at break even at this point, eh? I still have it at the top, the highs. YM is pushing up towards yesterday's POC. Honestly, that was like a really good scalp, because you got like 15 points off of it, and 15 points goes a long way. For this one account, I actually just logged into my Apex account, and I was like, oh, wait a second, I only have like a week left to pass the eval, so I have to just push it. I think I just completely forgot about it. When I came back, I was like, oh, I thought it was like a fresh start type of thing, and completely forgot I had an account with them. So I logged in. I was like, oh, I still got an account with them. So now I gotta really try to push it, leverage up a little. Odd. NQ's the weaker one today. YM stronger. So yesterday it was the opposite. YM is getting really close to yesterday's POC. Yeah, so I agree. I actually haven't used alpha futures at all. I might have tried TPT at some point, but never really stuck with it. Lucid, I've tried. MFF, I've tried and used pretty frequently. Yeah, I didn't. I personally don't trust Apex either, but once they started the end of day thing, I thought I'd give them a shot because before they were using the trailing intraday drawdowns. TPT, I kind of hated their rules too. What was it? I think their evals are end of day, and then their funded accounts are, yeah. I think yeah, if I remember, yeah, the TPT accounts, the funded are intraday trailing, which, in my opinion, like TPT is great, but I hate when the rules are different. If like I understand consistency rules being different, but an end of day drawdown eval switches over to an intraday trailing, it just like messes with my psyche quite a bit. So I'm not like the biggest fan of that. I think Lucid and MFF are pretty consistent. Oh, the fish boning pattern's really starting to kick in. I hate that so much. Like, when I see this, I see zero edge. But then again, today, gamma is extremely light too, similar to yesterday. And you said you only trade with Lucid though, right? Good. Yeah, I like Lucid. I kind of like their CEO too. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the no rebill thing. But which I think Tradeify just recently adopted. And Top Step, man, they used to be like number one as far as I understand. And they kind of just fell from grace. And I hated one of the things that I didn't like in their decision making process was when they discontinued Tradeovate data provider, and they wanted to compete with Tradeovate. That's when I was like, okay, I don't know. Like as soon as they discontinued Tradeovate, I figured I didn't want to use another web platform, especially because I liked NinjaTrader for execution. It was part of my workflow now. It's pretty hard to switch too. The only time I use web, any type of web platform, is if I have to trade on my phone. But yeah, I agree. Top Step is definitely they've become questionable. Oh no, that's horrible. Yeah, like I forget, was that when everyone, I think last November, like the Tradeifys, the Lucids, and a bunch of other like secondary prop firms were all using Top Step X or Project X as their data source, right? So, and they just weren't built for that. for that type of scale. But once they discontinued it, they still had issues at one point. I think earlier this year, if I remember correctly. But then again, Trade Evade also had issues. There's probably like a few one-off days, or actually I should say one-off hours, because it didn't take a whole day for them to fix it. All is still coming down. Volatility VIX is still pulling back. It's just coming down here. And it just looks like it's going to hit further upside. Yeah, that's a good point. The payout denials is such bad publicity. The straddle's now 23. It's pretty close to where the straddle high currently is. And about 71.08 to the downside. I was listening to the CEO of Lucid talk the other day. I think it was like their 1-year anniversary or something. Like they grew really fast. But I think he started Lucid around the time that FTT declared bankruptcy, which is insane. But I think he said he still sees an opportunity in the prop firm space to make a run, and that he did. He built. It's insane what he was doing. And his buddy FTT, I feel like they were a thing maybe two years ago or something like that. and the CEO and everything sounded really good, and the pay structure, their evals all sounded super great, better than everyone else's, but they didn't do their math right, and they had to declare bankruptcy. They couldn't pay out a lot of the influencers and stuff like that. I actually don't know their full name. Maybe it's called fast track trading. Maybe fast track trading. Yeah, I think it's fast track. But yeah, it's pretty neat because you have Leo, who's also involved in Lucid because of his ties to AJ, which is the CEO of Lucid. And Leo does a lot of, I guess, streaming. He's also on the Ninja Trader, day trading show. So it's pretty cool to see him pop up on the Lucid stream as a reveal for quote unquote Lucid admin in the Lucid Discord. Apparently that's been him the entire time. But sometimes I do watch the Ninja Trader day trading show. I like the morning part of their show where they run through the news. But the day trading segment, I just kind of, if I do have it on, it's just on in the background type of thing. The YM hit its naked POC from yesterday. But now NQ is trying to push up. This seems like a positive drift up for the most part. And positioning doesn't tell me anything above here besides anything goes. But man, just talking about the prop space in general, it just reminds me how much it reminds me of like the Wild Wild West. Like when they say it's the Wild Wild West, it makes a lot of sense. And then you have influencers going nuts, like they're like fake trading or sim trading, whatever it might be, and they're claiming they're making millions. And then you have like prop firms calling them out. I think that happened recently with Brian Stonk and Apex. Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you about YM. Like I can't trade YM at all. Like right now, I would want to try a short on YM. but like more often than not, it acts pretty wonky. Like it doesn't feel the same as ES or NQ. But I do watch it, and oftentimes when ES chops, I see NQ going one way and then YM going another way. But I don't really follow the levels that much on YM, because you're right. Like if it runs a liquidity level, it could run a while before it turns. Like I never really know when YM might want to turn. I don't have a good beat on YM. YM short's actually looking decent. If I entered, it would have been around 640. About 50 points. I think it's like $5 a point. Which is crazy. Because the risk was also... the risk was only about 30 points. Yeah, that's a good point. Trying to get rid of a bunch of other things. Like I feel like I watch too many things too. And I definitely do go through the analysis paralysis, and you probably witnessed it firsthand, just watching me every now and then. But yeah, like I have VIX up, I have this gamma charts up, and then I have YM, I have NQ, and I have gold and CL because I just kind of watch them. No, sorry, I don't really watch them, but I kind of want to have a general idea of where things are at for gold and CL or oil. Man, that's gonna be like 2 atrocious days in a row on ES. Is there anything new that you're trying to pick up aside from refining your current trade style through order flows. Yeah, I think you're right about the simplicity thing. I do feel like I'm overcomplicating it at times. But there are times when the stars align, and man, I just have to slap those times when all of these signals align. Like that's like the A plus plus. And maybe that's what I'm paying attention to, or that's what I'm watching for when I do it. But I don't leverage in like it's an A plus plus, sadly. Positioning is changing quite a bit here, especially underneath 7120. Yeah, that's good. 2 to 3 playbook setups and you're great. And just watch for them. Like this morning, did anything from a flow perspective suggest to short, or did you short just based off of the high day sweep? Like, I think you got a decent top wick candle there, and that should have shown red orders or something like that, right? Bearish flows. Yeah, Tuesday value area high based on measuring it from like the low to high or high to low, right? Yeah. The sell volume, that was a, yeah, I forgot you like at range bars. Yeah, I see the volume. On the 1 minute chart. Yeah, that's the top right one. Yeah. So this indicator is a bit interesting because I think the indicator basically measures like, I noticed that whenever it does like a top wick of some sort, you get a massive red bar. And it's kind of like that. So for instance, when I see like a top wick at a key resistance zone like NQ, taking its high of day or overnight highs, like that's the perfect spot to short. If volume crosses average line, it means good amount of volume. Oh, I see. Oh yeah, that's right, because you track the average line and where it is relative to the average line, which makes sense. Yeah, it's like I found it consistently. Yeah, I know it. I know that's what it says it does, but very consistently tracking it, I noticed that you can kind of spot these based on where you see wicks. But you cannot spot the volume relative to the average if you're just looking at the candles. Yeah, for sure, because the volume is so thin overnight. I cut out of the trade a few minutes ago. Once I realized it was the POC shifted up and we're holding the 5-minute ADMA that I have drawn on. I would like to see the previous day high sweep. Yeah, it was like I ended up marketing out a few minutes ago. Where did I get out? Probably around 6-8. So I took a few points loss there. Three points on that account. The one that I have to, the one that will basically expire next Friday. I suppose I could have held it and then average in another one at previous day high, but I figured I'd just cut the whole thing in case we run. If there was something obvious positionally, then maybe I would have done that, but I'm just not loving what I'm seeing here. Because it does seem like a positive drift up. And 71.20 is definitely going to be that line in the sand. Especially when everything is starting to become dealer positive, gamma. But yeah, there's one guy I used to watch, and he's a rocket scooter guy. I don't know if you ever come across his streams. Before it used to be very informative, but a lot of it is now very entertainment based, which I naturally gravitate away from. And one of his theories is you got to leverage prop firms by not copy trading. Instead, entering, like what he does is he has like, let's say 10 DOMs up, and he basically hits market order, market order, market order on each DOM individually. So he has like an average entry across 10 different accounts. And then on the way up, he starts selling, like, let's say it was a buy on dip. He averages into that dip based on where his levels are. But he assumes that he's going to be correct, obviously, right? Anytime that he's not correct, he takes a pretty hefty loss. So he needs to, he needs to basically be as accurate as possible. But when he wins pretty big, and he's like, and he always like says like, hey, yeah, like, you know, it's a 40K day, it's a pretty big day, but on average, like, he makes 20K a day based on his strategy. And his strategy, what he does is he bases it also on dealer hedging levels. So he actually buys the data directly off these brokers or the market exchanges, and processes that data, and then comes up with a strategy, and he sells that strategy basically, and that entire platform, which I've never tried out. His levels seem pretty decent, but there was a time, actually it was when VIX was like 25 plus, that he was kind of struggling, and I had to stop watching him because he enters his trade, sits through like a 4 or 5 grand loss, and then averages in, and then says it's an amazing trade once he breaks green. So I just couldn't really follow him. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's basically what I did, but I never went live with them, because live has some funky rules too, or they don't give you enough money on the live end. But sorry, like, they don't give you enough of a, I guess if you have a 50K account, they'll give you like the same drawdown for the live account. But I think there's a few more rules that applies, from what I'm hearing from the guys that I know that went live. And the best bet is definitely pull your money out of prop firms, like get your money and get paid from props, and then put it into your own brokerage account and trade there. Okay, yeah, your own live funds. So that's basically what I did with and I ended up adding my funds to NinjaTrader. Yeah, I completely agree with that direction that you're taking. Yeah, I'm definitely watching this here. Yep, definitely watching it here. Average volume is definitely ticking up, right? POC is about 13 points away from here. And then you got the ES trend line here that we're approaching. NQ still pumping up. A little bit of SMT here. I don't even want to look at the gamma chart right now. It's not telling me anything. Slap the YM short just for the heck of it in this account. That I'm gonna quickly move to break even. Still pondering about the ES one right now. Might want to give this a shot. Let's see. I like the idea of waiting for your IFBG though. I'm going to move to break even on YM. About 37 points right now. Oh. I'm going to give ES a shot. Close YM. Still think YM still has a way to go though. As long as NQ keeps going up, I have to say YM is gonna pull back here. I'm gonna take YM off right here. 52 points on YM. I'm in ES2. I don't want to have to manage YM while being in ES. Just single positions. And I'm only doing this because it's the expiring account. So let's just give it some sort of perspective. Yeah, I just thought I had to put it out there because like one of the things that I'm noticing, even having the two positions on at the same time, it's a bit nuts because like I can feel my blood pressure elevating a little, even though it's just an eval. But I think I'm starting to come down a little now. And I'll complain about YM and closing early if we head back to, if we head another 100 points down. Yeah, the S&T divergence on the 5-minute ES and NQ highs there was likely the reason why I entered in, and also that doji candle or gravestone. I'm not sure of the names, to be honest, but it's the candle that closed flat on the 5-minute. And it was perfect because ES swept, NQ swept. And we happen to be at an ES trend line. But I noticed one thing, NQ doesn't really want to go. Yeah, we might get an NQ drift up to previous day highs. By the looks of it. Still about another 20 points away here. That's why you wait for An IFVG. There goes NQ. NQ is running. YM seems to be stalling here, so kind of basically close at like the 5-minute FVG, or just under it. Yeah, NQ's gonna carry this. And I really like where VIX was at for a potential rejection on ES. Yeah, YM is still pushing down, or attempting to continue to push down, I should say. It's just below where I closed. Just below is like 10 points below. Right, there's NQ. Oh my god. NQ's just teasing it at this point. Okay, NQ'd a top wick there. And the volume was a higher volume too on the 5-minute top wick. As if we leave it shy though. Yeah, positioning is all noise. I don't even want to look at this anymore. Yeah, I'm in ES shorts. Thinking about cutting though. I feel like we can just start thrusting upwards. I'm watching it pretty close here. Yeah, I just remember. Okay, I'm looking at what Alma wrote around about the 71, 45, and 50 area. It's kind of unclear because she always has to translate these, but if vol gets bid here, the ultimate line in the sand is 71.45, 71.50. That can be a reversion target after 2 p.m. Okay, so it's a little early, basically, is what's happening here. Target can be hit and pinned to it. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about a closure here. And then reassess and re-enter. The original straddle high is at 71.51-ish, plus or minus. Gravity looks like it's above, towards 7160 to 7170 SPX. Yeah, 7151 SPX. Sorry, I should have clarified. And would you consider this a momentum, upside momentum? Yeah, it does. It does mean taking out Friday's highs based on the straddle, anyways. Friday's highs are still a ways away, well, more like 5 points away. On ES, it's still about 5 points away. It's kind of interesting that that's the case, which is roughly where that straddle high is, about 5 points away. Oh, Discord. What you got there? 71.47 is premium 2, which is, yeah, the liquidity level. Yeah, your premium levels I find are like tend to line up with my liquidity levels. I like that we have some similarities in our trading styles, but we also have different ways of confirming the trade, or different indicators, I should say. But yeah, I'm still seeing that positive drift towards 71.60, but that might not be until like towards the end of the day if it happens. I don't like praying when I'm in a position. But yeah, there's a whole lot of nothing happening here. It's just like this grind up, a lot of resistance up there. A lot of noise from the positioning too, based on this fish boning pattern. But gravity seems to want to take us towards that 7160, 7170 settlement, like towards the end of day. Oh, there's a 2-minute IFVG. You're gonna have me looking at the 2-minute chart now? Oh, there is none. Okay. The funny part is, this is like the worst time to exit too, because normally I would enter off like a sweep. 2-minute IFVG. I don't know that oh, 2-minute FVG, sorry. Okay. Yeah, that is support. It's definitely holding up. But yeah, I do see like this natural gravity up towards 7160. All right, that should be the sweep, right? No, not yet. I don't think that's a sweep. How can that not be the sweep? Come on. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Yeah, I'm still seeing this positive drift. I think that's where that positive gamma is. I don't know that we'll just drift there without pulling back, but that seems to be where it would like to settle for the most part. I'm kind of glad I closed YM when I closed it. At least that was a win on this account. But for the most part, there's just no gamma. And all this is noise to me. In terms of positioning anyways. So there's a sweep. On SPX. On ES, it has yet to happen. But if you draw a trend line, there's a trend line there, technically speaking. Okay, watching VIX. VIX looks like it still wants to tick up a little. But the low on VIX seems like it's in so far. On that new high. On that new high on SPX, VIX did not head lower. See sell volume slowly building. Oh, I see what you see. Are you looking at it on a 2-minute or the 1-minute? And the 5-minute 5-minute candle on ES also gave us like a really nice high volume candle. Market's extremely slow though. I think you see an IFVG, don't you, on the 1 minute? I'm not sure if you're going to be waiting for your 2 minute signal. Or if you even want to get in front of this at all. I do, but check in NQ 1 minute. Yeah, I'm watching the NQ 1 minute, and I see a bunch of IFVGs. Yeah, and VIX is starting to tick up too. It could just be a head fake, but trust in your process. Well, you took NQ shorts. Oh, wow. I mean, it does look better. And it swept the previous day highs. I like the 5 minute volume, the increase in volume on the 5 minutes on that last 11:30 candle. Like, it reminds me of like a termination volume. Ready for reversal. The only problem is, how much will it reverse, right? Value area low at, value area high at roughly 71.70. Blue charm. Yeah, it's supportive. Supportive charm. But we're still looking at about 20 ES contracts being purchased every 5 minutes or so, which isn't much. Not until, like, if we hang out around here until 245-ish, you might get about 80 contracts being bought up. So it gets a little stronger at around that time. Like up here reminds me of like one massive call spread that's being sold. It looked like someone joined our stream just momentarily, maybe like for 10 minutes. I should probably be saying stuff. There you go. There you go. You're getting it. VIX is still climbing up. So slowly, like we're at, the low was like 18.7. We've been climbing up towards 1905. Now the question is, do we just tap off of the value area low, value area high? Or do we run this towards POC on ES? I would like to see NQ hit its value area high, to be honest. NQ's value area high is about 30 points lower from here. There you go. Let's go. Good trade, Koshik. This time, when I take it off at 163 near POC, it's gonna run. Just to slap me in the face one time. But I think POC on ES should hit when NQ touches its value area high. And hopefully it goes there. Israel's defense minister, Israel is poised to resume the Iran war. Israel awaits the green light to resume the Iran war. Okay, so that's what's helping us. And Trump's probably going to come out and ease that a little. VIX is still climbing here. Israel defense minister threatens different lethal strikes on Iran. Did you already take profit on your NQ trade? Or are you holding it still? And value area high has not hit yet on NQ. $28.0 20. I mean 27, right? 27.045. Okay, I see. There's like a high volume node around there. Yeah, I'm starting to trail my stops a little. $27.045, yeah. Yeah, I see a high volume node there. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. $21.30. Okay, positioning starting to clean up a little here. 71.35. I want to see what that is. 71.35. Ooh, they're calls and puts. Interesting. More calls than puts. About 1,000 calls. Long customer long calls, and then 800 customer long puts at 71.35. I'm a bit afraid of this transition here between 71.35 and 71.30. One hour looks like 5 more minutes, and the 1 hour could close massive top wick. So unless someone comes out and tacos what the Israel defense minister says, we could kind of continue gravitating down. That was the transition between 35 and 30 on SPX, and I was a bit afraid of it. Like, normally I would take profit on the 71.30 there. Like, as soon as we kind of crossed over 71.35, it was good to take profit. But yeah, I mean, we could still see further downside. It's just it wasn't going to be a straight line down as much as we wanted it. But I'm not sure anymore. I think if hopefully you took some partials, or if you had partials, Let's see if that was some taco. 70s is really. Talks will start today at midnight. No partials yet. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting too. I only have the one position. It's 71.35, 71.30. And once we break our way into 71.30, it might smooth sail. Barring any technical analysis, of course, which we have the POC that's in the way. $71.15, so another 15 points from 71 from the low on SPX there. It's just hard to bet on further downside, like the entire range of today. It would be an entire range move towards the downside. But I like that the breakdown by strike is starting to clear up a little. One hour is going to close doji on the NQ. Yeah, 1 hour NQ closed doji. Unreal. Like more sizings coming on. No, maybe not. I want to see the 12 o'clock update. See how well the position cleans up here. It seems like there's a group of people that are betting on upside and downside from the 71.35 level. ES straddle at top. Oh, give me 1 sec. What was the top? 11. Oh, shoot. I don't know. Let me check the graph. At the top, the straddle was about 17 points, which is actually similar to what it is right now. 17 points. Yeah, it's sitting at around 18 points right now. It's hard to tell from the graph, but it's let's say 17 and a half, maybe even 18. which it technically went 17 points already, right? That's crazy. I guess that's why we were due for that bounce. Does it also show NQ? I don't believe so. He only tracks SPX. Nothing on NQ. Yeah, I think you have every reason to hold based on that 1 hour doji. Hopefully it runs through 163 and I don't even have to watch it. I want to see the NQ VWAP and POC hits. There it is, 163. I was hoping for a Trump tweet or something. Come on. I think that's your take profit, right? I'll cut it here. I'm going to cut it here too. I think there's still a little bit further down that it can go, but this saves this account. This saves this account to trade another day. I don't want to risk another 13-point profit or 15-point profit, whatever it was. But I think there's still a little bit more room, especially to VWAP, right? But I can see the high volume node here. Good trade. Very good trade. I entered a little early there. Did you use the 1 minute or 2 minute IFVG? there's a chance that this thing just spools down too, towards like another 20 some odd points. But I'll complain about that later if it happens. I'm shocked that you took it on NQ. I thought you swore NQ off. OptionsDepth will be live at 1 p.m. on Twitter, covering the basics of gamma and charm on SPX and their importance to the market. So it sounds like it's like a crash course. All blame goes to ICT instincts. Man, those instincts, they don't ever die off, eh? They're good. Like I kind of like certain entry models from ICT. Like I love me a good SMT. Except we got that on like a higher time frame, like previous day high sweeps. Oh no, not even. No, I'd say higher time frame on NQ and ES, but like we're accounting for the weekly highs. Like this week's high. But yeah, mixing in ICT with the stuff that we know for volume profile, it just works. I still find it interesting how you draw your volume profile though, from high to lows, placing almost zero significance on the chop that happens. Seems like a lot of the big money dudes are all waiting for the which IPO is that massive IPO that's coming up? It's Elon's IPO, SpaceX, right? Like Chamath was talking about waiting for that IPO to happen so that he can take chips off the table. That I think that IPO, which could be a red flag, and then I heard it a few weeks back on the Macro Dirt podcast, and I think Jared was the one that was talking about it and saying, hey, like I don't think we can truly top until that massive SpaceX IPO happens, mainly because the market requires liquidity in order to support that IPO. Hey, that's pretty good. I got a degree in engineering, so um, definitely not computer science. I think computer science is definitely the more useful degree these days. Have you ever tried to code your your trade algorithm and your entry models? I think mine is a little too subjective. Yeah, that's fair. Like I think I have like a simple 5 minute one indicator that it just that detects wicks along, well, it could be a doji wick, it could be like a shooting star or hammer candle wick, and for it to go off or for it to alert, or actually it's not truly an alert, but for it to kind of put in a symbol that says, hey, there's higher volume here than the previous candle. And that's normally like a telling indicator from when I was tracking it anyways. But it only alerts when there's like that wick, and if it's a higher volume than the previous candle. So it doesn't matter if it's like there's no average volume. I don't track anything like that. It was just a simple indicator just to kind of point things out, just to draw my attention to it. But I have to use it subjectively because not every single higher volume candle with a wick is one to go in on. Like for instance, the 1055 candle. Yeah, for sure. I think the 1 hour POC was at 161 ish, 161.25 or 161.75. My line's pretty thick, but that's what I wanted to see how it would react off of that. And then when I saw, I think it was the 1 minute kind of doji exhaustion there, and there was also a pivot that I had drawn at 71.60, and I was like, okay, I think this is my only opportunity to exit before we bounce. Was that your VWAP? Because my VWAP is quite a bit, well, just slightly lower, maybe about 3 points lower than the lows. And NQ was about 30 points, 25 points lower than the lows. Our positioning's getting all mixed up again. All right, I'm not looking at that anymore. I'm just gonna look at the dark blue and the gamma on the gamma chart. I can't see us making it past 70.80 if we do see some downside. Because what will happen is if we head here, it's a long way based on the straddle, right? Not to mention the morning straddle priced in this move down here. But these are all long puts. 70.80. Okay, wait, let me double check here. 70.80. Yeah, they're all long puts, customer long puts. And they've been there for quite some time today, I believe. So as soon as, if we head down there, the dealers basically have to hedge by selling into this position as price drops because of this, to hedge this position as it gains delta. And once it gets here, unless there's something to push it over, it's similar to that vol signals video that I had sent over the other day. If we can't push past this, dealers and time starts decaying, and we approach like towards the end of the day, dealers will have to buy back all that delta as theta decays. So we'll likely bounce off of this. Should we even see that level hit, of course. Okay, yeah, 158. Yeah, I have mine around there too. Maybe slightly different. 71.57, 50 or 75 for me. Close enough. Okay, ES is starting to push. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll probably cut out too and have some lunch. All right, Koshik. That was a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.